Warning: the following story may be disturbing to some peoples. In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, there is a place that is said to be cursed. It is an ancient ruin, hidden deep in the jungle, that is said to be haunted by the spirits of the dead. The locals call it the House of the Dead, and they say that those who enter never return. One day, a group of explorers set out to find the House of the Dead. They were adventurers, thrill-seekers who craved the unknown. They had heard the stories, but they didn't believe them. They were convinced that the locals were just superstitious, that the House of the Dead was nothing more than a myth. They trekked through the jungle for days, cutting their way through the thick vegetation until they finally reached the ancient ruin. It was a massive stone structure, covered in moss and vines, with a single doorway leading into the darkness within. As they entered the House of the Dead, they felt a chill run down their spines. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the darkness was absolute. They switched on their flashlights, illuminating the interior of the ruin. It was then that they heard the whispers. At first, they thought it was just the wind, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They sounded like the voices of the dead, trapped in the walls of the ancient ruin. The explorers pushed on, determined to uncover the secrets of the House of the Dead, but as they ventured deeper into the ruin, they began to feel a sense of dread, as if they were being watched by something unseen. Suddenly, they heard a scream. It was one of their own, a young woman who had been leading the way. They rushed to her side, only to find her lying on the ground, her throat torn out, blood pooling around her body. They tried to run, but they found themselves trapped. The ancient ruin seemed to have shifted, its corridors twisting and turning, leading them deeper into the darkness. They could hear the whispers growing louder, and they felt a presence behind them, something cold and malevolent. One by one they fell. They were torn apart by unseen hands, their screams echoing through the ancient ruin, and as they lay dying, they could hear the whispers of the dead, promising that they would never leave the House of the Dead, that they would never leave the House of the Dead, that they would join the ranks of the cursed forever. No one knows what happened to the explorers who entered the House of the Dead. Some say that their bodies were never found, that they are still trapped within the walls of the ancient ruin, their souls claimed by the cursed spirits of the dead. And those who dare to venture into the heart of the Amazon rainforest are warned to stay far away from the House of the Dead, lest they suffer the same fate.